say good morning, and one of my viewers said, "Hey, I haven't seen your face in a while, so I thought I'd just do a quick intro." Today we're going to be working on two belated birthday cards. This is really giving me the ability to break into a Gina K box I got, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago that's all birthday inspired. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to doing that, and I will talk to you back on my table. And we're back. And so in this birthday kit, we got some pretty cool dies, but also it's very neat, except it's upside down, I guess. This really neat stamp set, where you basically can make a cake out of these two pieces if you so desire, like these two big ones. And then this is sort of a layered cake with this, then like a background stamp to do that. What else do we have? We have candles. So you could use the candles in the cake. I'm really liking this stamp, so I think I'll do this. And there are coordinating dies to cut out a sentiment if we do that. Or I may just stamp it. I've been doing so many like pattern paper and other-ish things lately. I don't know, I'm kind of in the mood for sort of a straightforward, simple stamp kind of card. And of course we have a bunch of pattern paper, and there's some nice pattern paper from Valentine's Day actually that might work out here. But I'm still feeling very, oh, and I had this left over. This might be fun to use too. It's just a watercolor background, but it might be nice to use as a focal element because it seems very celebratory with the color palette. Or like, we could even like cut cakes out of this, which actually I kind of like that as an idea for one of the cards. And I want to use probably more of like a tone on tone sort of brown fall colored kind of ink setup for the actual cake. But let's make some panels because we need two of those. And we know that for sure. This is actually cardstock I haven't used before. It's the Gina K layering weight, so it's probably like a 60 or 70 pound cardstock. I'm still really feeling sort of these kind of fall colors too, so I think I'm going to use that as the background. One of the cards is for a gentleman, so I may just go with sort of this midnight blue because it's sort of a nice color. I think like the midnight blue and like this background would kind of offset nicely. Anyway, we'll see where we get to. I only sort of have a plan today, so you know how that goes. I'm cutting the usual A2 size I like so much, so 4 by 5 1/4 as a nice inset panel that can, and this stuff cuts really nicely. Grab a card here quick. So that'll create a nice sort of 1/4 inch border. So you'll see the card, but I'd probably cut smaller if you wanted to do pattern paper. Obviously, we've been doing a lot of that lately. So I think this will be more of a straightforward thing. So what I want to probably do is get my cake all situated first. So let me grab my stamp tool, which I haven't used in a while. See if it's, yeah, there's not really any residue on it. But I will throw this in the corner. I'm thinking sort of front and center for this cake because let me get it out of here, but it's, both of them are pretty big pieces. I don't know. I might change my mind and just do the 2-layer cake. I might just do two cakes. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's fall. So I am going to go in first and just grab the cake, which essentially is just a big square. I think like a sentiment up here maybe, and just sort of this guy kind of front and center. Like it doesn't need to be like super perfect because if you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm certainly not a super perfect crafter. And if your paper pulls up, it's not really a big deal at this point. So I'm going to do this in the lighter color. These are Catherine Pooleranks that I have been a big fan of. She did this really nice brown release recently. Anyway, and this is apricot, which is going to be sort of I think this will be a really good sort of cake color. And I don't see any sort of extraneous stuff. I do have a bad habit of, sometimes over inking a bit. So that looks pretty neat. I'm going to hit it with a second layer because you can see there's a little bit of splotchiness happening. And that's probably because this is a brand new stamp. If you rub your stamps, that's less of a thing. Or you can just ink it a couple times. But I think this is going to be a really neat color. I'm a big fan of the Misty. Yeah, here we go. I like it just like that. Okay, so I'm a fan of a Misty, especially for these kind of layering stamps because it makes life a lot easier. I'm just going to clean this off a little bit with a baby wipe. And then peel this guy off, or girl, and put him or her back with the other stamps. Then grab these guys and sort of try and figure out where we want this exactly. They're sort of, it's hard to tell on here, but they're sort of like, it's easier to tell here. They're sort of like a straight side, like a rounded side, and then a more straight side to these. And this, I would say, kind of lines up more with the straight side. And, you can do it either way. It almost looks like this, to me, makes more logical sense because you'd have sort of the bigger layer on the bottom. But I think really you could do it either way. Like, it's not like going to be super perfect. I'll do it this way because I feel like this is the way that it was actually intended, and we'll see how we like it. And if for some reason it's not awesome, we can always redo it or play around with it a little bit. So I'm going to go in with ginger and assume that it's some sort of a carrot cake or ginger cake or something like that. This time I'm going to just sort of rub the stamp a little to see if it can perhaps get a better initial inking. If you've been watching recently, I like these a lot, and I think because these are brown families, of colors, are gonna look really good. And same thing happened here. It seems like this paper is pretty juicy, or thirsty, I guess. Whatever, the opposite one. And then what I like to do, like if you see that you accidentally got stuff on the door, it's nice to take it off because then you don't risk accidentally getting it somewhere on your card, because nothing's more annoying on like one of these sort of simple white cards than when you're, basically get a little bit of ink somewhere. And I like that. That I think is really cool. That like this is going to be a really nice, just sort of simple card. And like this thing is coming together really quickly, which I am always a fan of. And I tend to get any excess ink off. I'll tend to go back with a stamp cleaner and clean these later. I am actually really liking this particular stamp, so I kind of almost want to do a couple of these, but let's see what we think. We have birthday wishes, happy birthday, congratulations, sorry it's late. These are late, but I don't know that I necessarily need to like make a production out of that. I think it would be neat to use one of these banners. Yeah, I like the idea. I may come back here. Let me just move this over here, and I think like a banner would be fun. Maybe go with the bigger one because I kind of like the idea of it. I don't know, like almost over draping. Is that a thing? I don't know, but I like the idea of it sort of like. I'll actually move this a little bit over, so I can do this a little bit better. But and I don't know, like I think using blue tape or washi tape on these magnets is nice because they can be kind of a bear to get off sometimes. So I think this will work well in terms of how this lays out. I'm just sort of shooting for center mass. Then you have like this space that we can use, and then it makes it sort of a nice, balanced, simple card. And let's see what color we can do. We definitely don't want to do brown. I do have a, what do we have? We have a terracotta, which would also be brown. I have a lot of browns, don't I? But there is this, I don't think I even have it open, but there's this really pink, and I think I think pink to me seems very birthday. Uh, Called Pucker Up. Don't worry that I got, I forget what it's called, but there's this blue ink I've been kind of obsessed with for a while, too, also by Catherine Pooler, that tends to get a little everywhere because I like it a lot. So I'm just going to ink that up. Not seeing any mess I made, which is always a nice change. And actually, one trick, if you don't like using your hands, one thing you can use, if I see where it went, I don't. You can buy off Amazon for like a couple bucks replacement air hockey paddles. They have foam, so they slide around easier, but I usually just use my hand. So we have some really pink here. It's interesting, and then it's sort of, I think it almost was over inked a little bit, but it's fine. I have noticed that sometimes happens, especially if you push down a lot. But I'm going to lightly push it, do this again, and see if you might be able to just pull up a little bit on that. So we have our streamers there. I think that'll look fine. Like you can see the ink is a little pooled here, which I don't love, but I think like once it dries, it'll probably not be a big deal. I'm trying to think if I have anything I could suck that up with. Don't think so. I don't really want to try in my normal thing. Like I don't want to try a baby wipe because I think that would just create quite the mess. And I think I will just leave that as is. Not quite what I was intending, but I still like how it looks. And there is, oh, that's an idea. We do have like this sort of just straight line where these are the flags that go on it. So we could, I almost kind of want to, we could use that. I really want this to dry before I try and put this down though. So maybe we will leave this over here for a minute and work on the sentiment, which I don't think will be too much of an issue. And I think I'll go with birthday wishes. So I'm going to say, where would I want this? Drying. I kind of like that just in the center. Just pick that guy up. And what color do we want? I think I want to use that ginger again because it's really one of my favorite colors. Plus with all the pink up here, I don't really want to do like a super, I don't really want to do pink or purple or anything like that. I do have this very nice sort of, I think we used last week, this sort of more toned down is the wrong word, but a more muted purple. So anyway. See how that works? Oh, I like how that came out the first time. That is really crisp. Okay. That is good news. It looks like Yeah, that ink's dry, so I think we can pull this guy up and see if we can't put our little pennants on a string, because it kind of doesn't make sense to just have them existing in space. It's a little interesting because it's very flexible, but also, like, I don't know, like the actual, you can see like the actual piece here is kind of tricky. I think the idea is you'd like butt it up against one of the other ones. So I think I won't do that, but I will go and here's just a fine liner. Let me just test this on a scrap somewhere quick to make sure it is writing, because I would prefer to not. Yeah, it is writing. So I'm just going to go sort of freehand this. And we'll just of course, you could actually go and use like twine, but like I'm going to just sort of freehand this in sort of a sketchier style. Which is pretty neat. You could, think I also have twine, so you could just like cut a piece of twine and like glue it over that too. So this piece of the card is done, and then we can. All we really have to do, yeah. See, like we really wound up using an excess of ink there. I think that's why it like pooled like that. So I don't know. Probably worth be. I haven't actually had that happen before. It's interesting. It would sort of pick up that layer of ink. I probably just over inked it. So worth noting. Probably for the future. Anywho, unless the people watch my video, they probably won't know, because you really only can tell on the back of this, which is going to be stuck to a card. I always try and remember to make sure to check what way things open, because nothing's really more annoying than getting one of these things stuck down and realizing the card opens the wrong way. Because then you wind up basically having to like cut it off the card. I mean, you'd sort of cut the card. You just basically use a paper trimmer to cut the card off and then remount it, if that ever happens. But I like this. Very cute. And I really like this stamp more than I was expecting to, so I kind of want to just reuse it on the second card. So I may do that. I may make another one that's similar. I think I'm going to use the... I was really thinking about die cutting, but I think I don't know. I really am liking how stamping is going. So I think I'm going to roll with that. And I may try the other cake stamp just to kind of get a sense of how that looks differently. Because it would be neat to try the string and flags in kind of the way it was probably intended. Let me grab my paper trimmer and we can make another panel. This is a good weight, especially if you're sticking it on a card base. So I'm a fan. I would say I'm a fan. I still like, I don't know, I still like the Bristol paper the best, I think. Just because it's a really sturdy paper and can hold up to a lot of markers and other things. And, you know, I guess it depends what you like. This is a very good, like, if you had a bunch of matting to do. And, I mean, the nice thing about having a white paper is, you know, you could just go make it whatever color you want to. So, to do a similar thing, only with a slightly different cake. Or actually, we could, well, let's try my idea to see if this actually is how it's intended. So I think the sort of intent, well, I don't know if that's the intent. The thing is, like, the edge on this is so fine, it's very hard to actually stand up. So I'm curious if, but maybe I'm overthinking this. Well, that works. Let's just pick this up and see if it picks up okay. Oh, yeah, that picked up great. Okay. We'll use terracotta, I think. And here I'm also doing a bit extra on the door, but this we're probably only going to need to do once, so it's less of a thing. And there we go. Yeah, I think it's easier to put the string down first, to be honest, because the string is very finicky. I don't know if it comes through on camera, but the actual, so like the side of the stamp that holds onto the acrylic block is pretty beefy, but the actual stamp is obviously very fine, and there's not really a good, like it's just a little finicky to get it to stay in the right position so you can pick it up with the door of the Misty. Maybe less if you use just an acrylic block. You just get this, whoop, stuck it back down. See if we can be a little less overzealous. Well, I think this works, right? Because you can then be a little more, you can kind of really see where your pennants would line up. And maybe we will do, since I talked about it, we might try purple pennants this time around. Going to be a little less over inky on this, hopefully. That came out pretty well. Haven't really decided on a sentiment, but I kind of do want to try the other cake, although I like the same idea. Like, I like these, I very much like these brown colors together. But basically, this you sort of get a very sort of a base layer cake look, which I like. I mean, I think this will be cool. Just because I like that this sort of would be grounded on the bottom of the card pretty nicely. And I like the... I do like this apricot as sort of a cake color for some reason. This is used to be a very thirsty stamp, so we shall see how this works out. That's pretty nice. I don't think I actually need a second one of those. And this comes with, and it basically cleaned off the entire stamp, so that is really good. Usually my stamping is not quite so on point the first time around, for whatever reason. this is sort of the second layer, so you can sort of do whatever you want with it. And I mean, you could even space this off. Like, this doesn't have to be like accurate. I think the only thing you could do to make it would look really weird is if you did it in reverse. But I mean, even if you put the stamp on backwards, which is kind of tricky because it's got this like swirly that's cut in, but it's not. I don't know. It's not the most obvious thing. So I'm going to just stick with the apricot, just because, like, I'm feeling the apricot is working really well today. Yeah, that's really neat. It's almost like some of the pink came out in it somehow. That is a very cool look. I don't mind that it's not like grounded. I mean, I always feel like generally with my cards they're always a little more whimsical. So it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know that anyone's going to worry about it being perfectly accurate. I'm definitely going to use the darker color. I think I'll... What were the other sentiment options? Wishing you the best birthday ever. I like that. I think I'll go with that one. I don't know. I think I'll do happy birthday here. I like this wishing you the best birthday ever, but it's a little small. Yeah. And just because I've done this wrong in the past, when you're looking down, it should be right side up. Like if I'm looking towards the card. Sometimes I forget that and then wind up stamping things upside down, which, I don't know. You may have noticed if you ever see me like cutting out a sentiment and then like flipping it over. Yeah, I've done that. I've also done it on the inside, which is a little irritating. But I don't know. This is a slightly different font. This is a more, I would say, I mean, this is a, I don't know. I guess it's not that different. I mean, they're both sort of typewriter kind of fonts. That guy is pretty much done. I think this one I will put on blue. I don't know which, I mean, neither one of these is particularly masculine or feminine, so I guess I can just use them either way. I mean, in terms of color scheme, like obviously you can just give whatever card to whoever you want. And it's, I don't know, it's nice to, are we being, yeah. Some days my cape runner is just difficult. Whoops. Let's not wreck the card. There we go. Crisis averted. But, I don't know. Like, I need to refill my ATG tape gun, but I've been using these little ones that I've had for a while. Wait, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, masculine or feminine cards. I don't know. I don't think either of these lean either way. Unless you think, like, you know, these pink sort of streamer thingies are one or the other. But, you know, I don't know. This is a nice break from holiday cards and just sort of, you know, cards that are very blingy and which we're going to get into probably this weekend because it's sort of, 'tis the season to start really making holiday cards. So, I'm probably going to do some new card challenge with those. So that's coming sooner rather than later. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. And if you have thoughts on whether or not you like an intro or not, please let me know down below. Thanks so much. Have a great day.